What's up, guys? It's Green Day Bowser. I am doing another speed build, only this one's a renovation. If any of you have played The Sims 3, actually, like, legit played it, or even watched a few Let's Plays right when it first came out, you probably know what this house is. This is the staple house of the game. It is called the Monotone, and it is monotonous. That is why it's called that. I saw Deligracy do her own renovation of this, and so that's why I decided to do it. So, as you can see, I am just moving things around, and remember that timing glitch is a thing, so this is a weird mix, probably between ×4 and ×8, somewhere in the middle of there. I'm guessing probably like 5 point something, but I'm not going to know until I finish doing this. But anyway, so here I am doing the driveway, because I did not know there was a driveway in the back of the house, so I'm doing the front driveway, and this is getting really annoying to watch because of the freaking thingy, and I don't know how to fix it, but I'll deal with it. I tried to put a wall back there, and it wouldn't let me, so I put a fence back there instead, and decided to fence it off on the front too, and put a parking spot in. If you're wondering why the bottom of the screen is kind of cut off, that is because I've been recording non-full screen, so it cuts part of it off, which is kind of sad, but that is okay. Which means that you'll also see that part cut off in my other speed build, which is coming up once I finish doing the renovation of an apartment renovation for a rich sim. But anyway, that's not what this is. So I am deleting all the floor here, and then I go in and I get rid of all the furniture. So yeah, basically I'm going to start deleting everything in a bit since this is all locking up, so yeah. And I tried to delete the fences with the delete tool, but then I forgot. You don't pick up fences, you draw fences, so I had to legit delete them. And I deleted all the counters, which is funny because I didn't realize how many counters were in here until I took comparison screenshots and realized I have less counters than they did. But oh well, it's not like I was meant to be exact. And I had to delete all the walls, which is kind of funny because the walls were really ugly. Also, this actually is the longest build / renovation I've ever done, because I was going to delete the parking spot there, but then I decided to put it back, and then that's when I started a little mini hood piece, I guess you can say, for it, that basically was just a little top piece, I guess, technically for sun and rain and stuff like that, even though I don't have seasons, so it's not like it matters. But yeah, so basically that's what I'm doing with this piece. And what I was going to say is this is actually the longest work I've done for one of these things. It overall took me about 2 hours maybe to do this, which is a good thing because I spent a lot of time detailing and doing extra things I normally don't do. Because like I normally don't think to put in a little car thing like this, which is what I did. And then I also messed around with roofing a lot, which was kind of interesting because I tried to do a thing for the roof that was basically an uneven roof, and then I couldn't think of how to make it uneven or which way I wanted it and how high I want it to be, and then walls started glitching out on me, and yeah, so that was part of the time. But really, I feel like I was more detailing, and I did actually change the floor plan slightly, which is more than what Deli did, technically, because I changed there's a wall inside that you'll see that's different. So here's where I'm messing with the roof, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Couldn't decide if I wanted them to really connect and just be kind of lopsided, because the real roof is a straight dead-on roof, and I kind of wanted it to be lopsided, or if I wanted it to be slightly cut out, which is what I did. And then in doing this, I kind of screwed the walls over a little bit. And then I was like, why don't I try putting a pagoda in there? Because that looks cool. Maybe have a giant pagoda off the edge of it, and then have it be part straight, part pagoda. And then I realized this looks stupid, so I got rid of that too. And I mean, some of you may like it that way, but I didn't, which is why I got rid of it. And yeah, a lot of different things I had to do with the roof to try and get it to do what I wanted. And I tried to maybe go for a hip, and then I was like, that looks dumb. So I did a lot of stuff with the roof, to be completely 100% honest. And it was kind of frustrating. I tried seeing what the other side would look like if it was slanted downward, and then I realized it looked completely backward. And then I tried to add in walls there because the roofing walls got deleted, and that didn't work out either. I was like, okay, what if I make that wall height, and then I make that kind of even, and do things with it, and then I did not like, so I had to go back and try a million different things again, and then I guess I finally settled with what I had at the beginning. So yeah, there's that. And I also went in, and the roof patterns I couldn't decide, but all of a sudden I saw these big blocky patterns, and I was like, when did I get these? Because I knew I had custom content ones, but I didn't know what these were from, because they said they were store. I was like, I don't remember getting any other custom content roof patterns, but then I remembered I have Aurora Skies, and Aurora Skies, as I'm thinking what it's coming from, have the weird roofs. And I actually really do like that black roof I used for it, because it's kind of similar to some of the stuff I've seen in my town. Especially there's this little building thing, I don't even know what it is, outside of my school, and you can see it out the window in my A-Push class, and Shutter's A-Push. But anyway, yeah, you can see it. And I am working on the top of the garage thing. Not necessarily a garage, but you know, the under piece. And I decided to make it black to match up with the roof, even though it's a slightly different kind of texture. And then the inside, I just made the gray tile things, which was fun, but at the same time, not really. So that it just would be different, even though it's not like it's going to be something you see a lot. And then I realized I left the light, so I deleted it. And then I started working on the indoor floors, and that was where things got a little bit fun. And then you might see some jump cuts, because after I got almost done with the indoor floors, I had to go to bed. And then I did part of it in school, and then part of it even after that. So I'm doing the floor in here, and I ended up changing the line because I was going to leave it like that, and then I ended up making it jagged. I didn't remember the shortcut for triangle panels because I don't know what it is, so I just cut off part of the wall like that, and then I filled in the two spots. So that's tile like that once I get it, and this lag is really annoying to look at. But anyway, that's tile, and that's wood, and then I delete the walls that were in the between, because those were just so I could do the fill tool to get the angle. And then after that I changed the colors, and I used a different pattern than normal actually, which is kind of cool. And it makes the tile floor this like reddish pattern thing that's like diamonds, but they're little tiny diamonds, and I think I make them a little bit more of a grayish red, because I left the dull red in it, because I decided that since it's the monotone, excuse me while I shift, I leave the floor and the wall, I almost said the floor and the wall gray and white and stuff, because I wanted to leave the monotonous feel. But the furniture is brighter, and the bedroom is definitely brighter, because I feel like the bedroom would show you the personality. So I don't actually have a person in mind for this, I just did this, and I don't know if I'm going to eventually move someone into it, but I still remember all the memories I had of being in this one, and how great it was. So I was going to use wooden floor and put wooden floor over that, and then I realized that looks gross, so I actually said no, and I basically went and I used the simple floor from Late Night, which looks like a tile, but it's because the grouting and the tile match up in the sense that if you overlay them, they will not even look like they were tiles originally. So that's the one that I use now, even though some people used to use carpet to do that, I'm guessing. So I decided to make it gray, the floor piece, but that caused some problems because I couldn't think of the shades, and then I eventually went with dark gray with stripes of light gray that kind of run down, which look really nice actually, so I'm glad I was able to do that. And then I went and did the tiles again because I don't even know why I didn't do them and then I redid them. I think it might have either not saved or I did something else. I don't even remember why I had to redo it. But anyway, yeah. And then I did basic carpet in the bedroom because I didn't really care. Then I had to start doing the walling, and this is where I thought, what should I use? And I ended up deciding that I should have some exposed brick, but then I think the entire living room became brick. Fun fact. So I do have, oh no, never mind, it didn't all be brick. I did actually change part of it, but I did mess with the brick a little bit more later on because I did want to use, I was going to use tile in the kitchen, and I said never mind, but I did want to use a different, or the wall pattern you see for the main walls in the little mini study, which is where I added the wall. I didn't add in a full room, I just cut in a wall, that way the living room wouldn't be so huge, and I'm kind of glad I did that because I know that you can utilize that big space, sorry, I cannot talk, because the original game did, although they used it kind of crap-like, and then Deli did also, because she knows what she's doing. Unlike me, which is why I had to make the space smaller, otherwise I wouldn't be able to use it to its full potential, because it reminded me too much of when I made really crappy houses. So I made this middle piece, this texture, which I also actually, fun fact, did use in my apartment renovation in the kitchen, I believe, but you won't see that till a little bit later. But anyway, I used that in the bathroom, in the middle stripe, and I do like it a lot. And then I started working on the outdoor walls before I did the texturing, or no, I did the texturing, then the outdoor. So my plan for the kitchen was to give it wooden walls, which I did do. And so I used this white wood, I believe. I don't know if it's, I tried to go for a light orangey, I don't know what kind of tree that is, but you know, the light wood. I'm going to have to, anyone who knows trees slash plays Minecraft and knows trees from there can tell me what the light wood is, because I don't remember what light wood is. But anyway, I tried a bunch of different wooden patterns, and I think, if excuse the pause, I was helping one of my friends with chemistry during this time period, actually, even though I was in Spanish class. Because I decided, okay, he needs help, I'm gonna help him, and I forgot to hit 1 to cut out, and not uh, I was gonna not worry about it and just cut it out later. But then I watched some stuff by Deli where she talks about her pauses to do other things, and then I decided, you know what, I can keep it. It's not like it's too bad. It's just a little pause. But yeah, that wood wall there that you can see eventually turns white, I think. I'll see when it unpauses. But this whole first half of this part here is basically that. But that should be going away in a little bit, although I don't know how long I actually did sit on it. I think I eventually moved it after kind of partially explaining, but I mean, I don't know, because my commentary is already almost at 11 minutes, but because of, you know, the way the glitch thingy works, it's not even near. So I don't know how long I'm actually going to be having to talk today, because I have no clue how slow this is going. Yeah, I'm going to have fun fiddling with that, and it sounds horrible, but you can see all the things flashing and blinking because I was in game doing stuff. There we go. So now that I moved, which took, I don't know, hours. Sorry, you can just always just probably skip to where I'm doing that. I mean, this is a YouTube video. I made the walls this grayish white, and I did keep it that way. And then over here is where I messed with other patterns, and I used a slanty stripe thing that was cool. I used a lot of deli-like things, which is why I used weird patterns, and I used that right there, which is this striped thingy, which looks nice. I can't think of what it is. Striped wallpaper paint thing. That looks really nice, and it's like that with the white baseboards underneath, and then I do leave that the way it is, I believe. And then for the bedroom, I go with, I couldn't think of what to go with, actually. And then I eventually settled on, part of the theme set, and I tried a bunch of different things, to be completely honest. Which is why you can see me scrolling down, and I was actually going to use the circles once they loaded, which took a little bit to load, even though it won't look so bad times whatever, however much this is going to be times, and it just didn't look right. So I went into fabrics and tried to use the chandeliers and lighten up the chandeliers, and I don't think that's what I ended up using. So I lightened up the chandelier thingy, and I ended up not really liking it, so I went back and I changed to abstract, and I don't know if I actually used something in that, but I was just trying to find things to use, and I was going to use this geometric pattern that's in abstract, but it's kind of futury and stuff, and you'll see it in other builds that weren't by me, and some maybe by me later. But then I went back to geometric, and I decided to use those, because I really do like that pattern, which I actually, again, did use in the other home. So, yeah, it's this nice gray, and I made the triangle things a darker gray than they were, because they were a light gray and now they're a dark gray. So yeah, and the outside I had fun with trying to mess with the siding a bit, and I made this pillar stone, and then I redid it and made it a brick pattern because bricks are cool. And yeah, that sounded really stupid, but you know what I mean. um yeah, basically I tried to make this brick, and that kind of did happen because I used it, but I mean it did cause some other complications, and I have been talking for almost 14 minutes usually, which means that this build's probably going to be longer than I want it to be. But yeah, um, so I did have to mess with some other things, and it was great. So messing with those, I just wanted to get the 3 down so I could use the colors I wanted to use for them. And it's this purplish color, really. It's a purpley gray thingy. And I like it. I do really like it, although I think I did change the shade again slightly. Maybe. Nope, that's what I used. Yeah, that's when I liked, or not when I liked it, that's what I decided to use, because I did really like it, and then I noticed there was a wall missing again, which looked horrible, and then I tried to get rid of it, and did so many things, and then I ended up having to just completely rerun through, and I was gonna do some stuff and try and fix it, and then I ended up having to just patch it. I tried to patch it with the same sized roof piece, and then nothing actually patched it up, so I just tried a lot of stuff, and it was all weird, and I was like, okay. So I just had to place one of those back down, and it worked, even though it put the patterns in for some reason. I don't know why it does that when you do it, but it does. So I didn't know what to change the inside to, and I think I left the inside brick. No, basically I left the inside brick and then changed parts of the outside to be that stuff there, which looked cool. And I was going to make the top piece all... You'll see me delete the sideboard there. I was going to try to make that whole thing panel, but then I decided that it looked dumb because then it would just not fit. So I went back and I deleted all that and I made it go back to brick with the other part being siding. And yeah, that's basically what happened to that. Let's see. So it took me a little bit to get rid of that, and then I went back and I did that, and then I got all the bricks placed in again. And then I went back and I finished doing the siding around the outside. And yeah, I got to about the kitchen before I had to leave Spanish. So yeah, I've been saying yeah 5 million times. But basically, I'm 16 minutes into this now, and not even near done. Fun. Okay, you're gonna get a really long speed build, even though my speed builds are not normally this long, but I guess make what you think of it, if it's good or bad, or... Yeah, because now that I'm taking more time on them, I might have to speed them up more. Even though this is sped up pretty fast, because I set it to ×8 before I started recording the audio, just because I knew it was gonna have to be slowed down, and even then it's getting slowed down beyond belief, so... I'm gonna have to make a mental note of what time this ends at when I'm done, and then from there, slow it down to that point. But yeah, so I added the bricks into everything else, which I do like. And then this is when I started, I did a few plants actually. So I put bushes in around the edges, and then I used those little thingies in the sides of the garage place, which, if you didn't notice, are brick. Our brick is brick, whatever the word is. Anyway, so I put those around, and I put them in there, and I noticed move objects was on, so I turned it back off for the time being. You'll find me fiddle with it, because I don't want to make something unroutable. I know that Deli leaves hers on 100% of the time, but that's because she probably knows exactly what works and what doesn't with routing, I'm guessing. Or she's just less scared. Because, well, I don't use move objects very much, unless I'm trying to do a specific thing that I learned from her, which is why it goes back off sometimes, because I don't want to place something glitched through. I don't like dealing with them, with the different things. Part of it's because I'm lazy, part of it's because I don't want to do something that'll screw the whole thing up, and part of it's because I just know I'm probably going to screw things up, knowing my luck. So I try to use the Asian set door. And if you're wondering, I'm not afraid to use store stuff in this, because the exchange, if you just saw the Tumblr post, the exchange does not like my store stuff. So I've been trying not to use it so I could post things to the exchange, but I'm going to either upload this to my Google Drive and then give you the link to it, or I am going to put this in Dropbox and figure out how to work that and then do it there. That way you guys can enjoy this with all the store content, and if the store content does not actually load in your game, because I've had problems with that before, because I gave one of my builds to one of my friends since I started using store stuff, and everything, I exported it and put it in their computer and stuff, and it didn't load correctly, even though they had the same store stuff I had. So, if that is a problem with you, because for some reason my computer isn't like my store stuff, then you can probably just replace it if you have it with what it is. Just look in the video what I used and use it, or if you don't really like it, then just replace it. Because remember, you can do whatever you want, and even if you don't have store content, it will replace itself. So I never thought I'd actually have to say that. I tried to put in a fence here, which I actually do, but I was going to use that fence, and then I thought that looks too much like a staircase. And then I was like, how about plants? And then I was like, nah, no plants. And there's like, no wait, never mind, this is still in Spanish, because there are actually 3 clips. There's a little bit in the middle, if you didn't see the jump cut, where it was like a 6-second part. Yeah, but anyway, I used this fence some Showtime. And I was going to put a gate in, because I thought gates are cool. So I put the fences in across, and then I realized that those are huge gates, and there's no gate that actually matches well. And then I was wondering why there was a clock under the gate section. So I just decided, okay, get rid of that. And then, so, I mean, I was going to post the speed build for this anyway, but I showed Deli the screenshots, and she did like what I did, so I figured, do the speed build, and then send her that too. And so, if you are watching this, Deli, hi! I'm so glad to see that you do watch this, if you even got this far, because I feel like this is kind of boring. But anyway, yeah. So I'm going through and putting windows in, which I do like these windows. These windows are kind of cool. They are ambitions windows, and a lot of builders like them. At least I know Sim Supply does, and I think Deli does. I don't remember if she said anything on it, but
I mean, most of them do, so I kind of figure she would, because, I mean, like I said, a lot of people do. And I mean, she does have some interesting taste, but I did try and mix in some of her taste because at first it was a little off-putting, but eventually, after watching enough of her stuff, I got so used to it that I was like, this is cool. I need to try doing this because this is cool. So, I'm just one of those people that it takes a little bit to get used to things, and that was something I needed to get used to. I was like that with the Sims Fly too. I had to get used to his accent because he's the first Australian person I've ever actually watched on YouTube, and that is a good thing because he says, as hilarious as this sounds, he's the one that taught me, inadvertently taught me the difference between a Australian accent and a British accent. So yeah, basically British people sound more, or from what I've heard, sound more reserved and like uptight fancy. No offense if you're British, but Australian people are more wild and loose in their voice, and I like that. They sound more fun, I guess I can say. I mean, obviously, I watched two of them. I watched Deli and Sims Fly, so obviously I like Australian people. Yeah, I think I put that half all there. Yeah, I put that half all there so I could put the shower in. So the shower is in there, like that front piece, yeah. And then I have the bathtub on the side, which I use I don't even remember what set that's from. No, wait, yeah, no, that's base game. And then I was gonna use Into the Future, but then I used the one from a set, and I don't remember what set it is. But yeah, I need to get used to what the sets are. And then I used the Into the Future sink. Those counters are actually Into the Future counters. And then I used a mirror, but I don't even remember what that mirror is from either. I just know that I used the VBDM 881 mirror, and judging by the description and the fact I've never seen it before, it is not custom content, because if it was custom content, I would have seen it before. I actually did not use Into the Future or Ambitions counters, but for some reason the counters would not place under there, which is probably why the kitchen was smaller. But I do put something there, I believe. Or maybe not. I tried to, though. Um, but yeah, so, and then I was gonna put a table in here, but then I couldn't fit it, so I just put it away. And I actually was gonna use this table, which is from Town Life, and then I didn't. I actually do use the big Into the Future Into the Future dining table, that one. But that's just for guests and stuff, that's why it's a huge table that's in the edge. And I was gonna use Lunar Lakes chairs, but then I did use future chairs to match the future table, which are cool. And then that's because that whole space would have been living, and then it would have been hard. Um, yeah, and then in here there's just a little dining table, but I put the fridge, and I couldn't get the fridge to fit anywhere, so the fridge is on the other side of the door. And then this is when I put in the stove, which I believe I think I actually put in I put in the late night stove, or as I like to call Delia's favorite, because late night is her favorite expansion pack, and so she uses the stuff from it a lot. And I've actually been using that stove a lot, because it is a cool stove, so I guess that just kind of rubs off. When you see people using things in their game, you start kind of using them, and that's a good thing because I'm using new things that aren't the same old things I use all the time. I feel like with my recent builds and renovations, at least the ones I've been doing, some off camera, some for you, I've been doing different things because I learned things from people. I learned a lot from SimSupply when it comes to technical, and some inside, although he's even said himself his interiors sometimes do lack, even though I do like them a lot. Don't get me wrong, I do like what they look like. Yeah, it's the jump cut from coming back. But anyway, Deli is very wild with her interior, and that's awesome. I love using stuff from her. I used a lot of her techniques in this. If you'll see, especially in the living room, I used a lot of layering tricks. I used layered lights, and then I had a shelf under the TV, and I even did some stuff involving I don't know. I think I tried to do some other stuff involving her over there. And if not, oh yeah, labored coffee tables. That's what it was. I used the glass coffee tables from late night, and I made this like tri-loop thing with them, and then put a flower on the end of it. And yeah, so here's where I put the other table because I couldn't get it to fit anywhere, but I put it in that corner, and then I moved it because I put a chair in, and I moved it and put another chair in. And this was meant to just be a little mini eatery area. So maybe he does use the giant, or he or she or whoever does use the giant coffee table out there. I guess I just use he as a reference term because I mean I'm a boy, so of course I'm probably just gonna use my own gender as a reference. I don't know. When I say he, I don't mean he boy. I mean he as in they. Technically, I guess. I don't know. I guess it's just kind of a universal thing that people use. But anyway, or at least I do. Yeah, my mouse is different because I was doing other things back there. Because this is after I had gotten home and I was doing some other things and talking to people and trying things out. And yeah, so I didn't know what couch to use. I was going to use the game sectional, but then I decided let's use the Aurora sectional, and then I was like, no. And I was like, maybe future sectional, and then I wanted to see if the Showtime chairs became sectionals, which did not, sadly. And then this is when I realized this would be hard, because I want to put a coffee table in somewhere for something, just to look more realistic, like for place things down, even though I end up just putting a stereo on the coffee table anyway, which is kind of a waste of space. But I couldn't get one in that fit well. And then this is also when I realized that the living room was big. Like, that's when I started having doubts with the living room. And I was even going to try and put that round one in, which is actually in the original monotone, but I couldn't find something that looked decent. So I eventually scrapped that idea. I was going to try and put one in the end, or put that in the end, but I realized that doesn't connect with it. So I was like, okay, no, let's get rid of it. But it took me forever to realize what I wanted to use, and then I eventually used the hipster loft couches, I believe. No, I didn't. Never mind. I was going to use those, but then I used the Forte couches, which are from the that Germany set, the Stanke, whatever, however you pronounce that. And then I used the and that one. I don't know what end table that is, but I know that it is from an expansion. I think it might even be base, but it's something. Yeah. And then I was gonna put a lamp there, but then I put the stereo there instead later. But then this is when I decide what kind of coffee table can I do in here, and I tried to layer stuff, so I turn on back on, and I tried to layer those coffee tables, and then stupid stuff. And then that's when I remembered, oh, hey, I can use the glass circles. I was gonna try and do something with the rectangle one, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't ask. And then this is when I turn it back off to do things and see if that works. But then I turn it back on because I start trying the circle layers, and this is when I do start layering them. So yeah, I didn't do anything crazy or long, but I did do that, which I do like actually, because it is unique shape and it has the nice little wheel spoke thing look to it. Um, and then I tried to put a plant through it, but then there was no plant that actually went through it, minus one of them, and I ended up actually putting that in the middle of the dining table. But I ended up putting the dogwood, I believe it's called, on the edge of that table, and I was trying to see how it looked, and then I realized, wait, it's not through it, it's on top of it. So I tried to put something through it. Then I was like, you don't want a palm tree in your kitchen, sorry, you don't want a palm tree in your living room. And then anything tall didn't go through, it just sat on top. And I was like, okay, this table apparently sits things on top. That's what went through, and then I put it on the dining table, because I like it. So that's another thing I used from her, putting plants through tables. And then I put that through there, and then I tried to change the way the tables looked. Then I turned it off, and then I made the mistake of trying to adjust that again. So I changed that wall back to stripes, I believe, or unless it was already striped, I don't know. It looked like it flashed. I think I might have tried to put bricks on it. And then I put the TV on, and then I was like, no, that's too far away. So that's when I changed the walls. And I was going to put a bigger TV in and then try to put one that wasn't connected, base game, and I think I even tried the Asian one. And then I put that there, and it was just going to be a floating wall, and then I was like, nope, let's connect it. And then I put the stripes in like that. And that was basically that. And I got rid of the bricks along the back, and then, yep, that's when I bricked the whole wall behind the TV too. And then I was going to move the window, but then I decided that I'd put a new one in instead. And then I was going to try and move that one over, but then I just moved it over one square that it wasn't glitching through the counter. And then I put one in myself, because I was going to move that over, like, you know what I mean, right? I was going to move the one from the kitchen over into the study, but then I didn't do that. And then I couldn't decide what TV to use, plus that big one wouldn't fit, so I just put the one um, from the Eco Prius set because it's cheaper than the other one by like 3,000 bucks. And then that's when I put the shelf in under. So that shelf is sitting under the TV, and I was gonna have it attached right to the bottom, but then I realized I'm gonna put stuff on top of it. So why should I put stuff, or why should I attach it right to the bottom of the TV if I'm gonna put stuff on it, unless you want your TV view obscured? So I got rid of the backlight, and I think I kept the color because it looked really cool. So you can see that there's little pop of pink in the plant, and then everything else in this room is basically gray, because, you know, it's the monotone. So I add more pink to it, basically, with a bunch of things that I add in. So I do actually add in a lot of things. I'm trying to decide what to put, like, up on the shelves and stuff, and I try to put things next to it and near, and then I put those plants by the door, or by the bedroom door, because I like those. And then this is when I start putting things up on top of the shelf, because, you know, shelf. Yeah. So I was going to use that, and then I realized that's CC, so let's not use it. Because I do have some CC in my game, which I don't use. And then I was going to put the New Year's bottles there, and then art sculptures and then things. So I put those trophies there, which is what made me decide I'm definitely using pink for things. And then I was gonna put towels in, but then I was like, no. So yeah. And that's when I decided to put a stereo in, because I put the CDs over there, and I was gonna try and get a stereo to fit up on the top piece, because like, you know, you can put the stereo on the shelf, and then no stereos wanted to fit on the shelf. And so I ended up putting a stereo up there, and I could not decide which stereo to use, but I eventually used that one, because it's kind of big, but that's cool. And then I put flowers in, and I was gonna put that in instead, and then I decided to keep the one that was there. I was gonna put the orchid, whatever, in instead of the dogwood, and then I was gonna try and put the cherry blossoms in, but then I realized, one, they look kind of ugly, two, they're big. So I think I put the topper on the floor, but I might have changed it. But I think I moved it actually, because I put a lamp there. Yeah, and then I was gonna put a little plant under there, and I couldn't think of what to use. So, I don't know. I tried to fit some other things around the place too, and then nothing really worked out or fit in good spaces, so I dealt with it and left it alone. And then I couldn't think of anything to go up there that was gonna fit without causing problems. So I do just put the little flower from base game and then that thing and that thing. So I did that, and then I even put the bigger ivy thing there. And then I kind of just left it a little uneven because I was like, that looks more realistic uneven. And then over here is where I started the mini study because I thought I have an empty space. Let's put a desk in. And I was gonna try to layer the two desks over and do something big. And then I was like, in a small corner like that, you wouldn't usually have an L-shaped desk. I was gonna try to combine the bookshelves too, but then that didn't happen either because I was like, that's too big. So I put the bookshelf in the bedroom actually, but not that big of one. And then I put in the chair from the same set as the couches and the computer from uni, I believe. And this is when I started working on the bedroom. So yeah, I've been talking for more than 30 minutes, so I am sorry. I wasn't expecting this to be this long. But anyway, I was gonna put that rock and roll bed but then I decided, you know what, there's a cool base game bed. So I believe I do put in a base game bed. Yeah, I put in that base game bed, but of course I changed the style. I made sure to turn move objects off too. And then for the end tables, I think I only put in one, but I put in another end table from the set as the couches. And then this one I see if I should put the the bed under the window, and then I don't do that, and then, yeah, a lot of stuff. And then I put the dresser on the opposite side of the room, even though I was going to try and shift one under the window also. But then I decided let's put that on the other side of the room. I never realized how big this bedroom and bathroom were, though, until I started refurnishing, especially when I did the bathroom. And that's how I realized why my bathrooms are so unproportioned in my first few houses that I built when I first started playing. Because these are Anyway, I put a standing mirror and I couldn't find the one I wanted to use, but then I found it. Mirror study number 4, which is from the Stunka set with the couches and everything too. And I put base game art, I believe. I was going to try to put slots in, but then I didn't. So I put the base game art up there, and I tried to maybe change colors, which you can't do, and then I moved it. I don't know, I just tried a lot of things that didn't work. And then I put a chair in the corner, although I don't know what chair to use, so I try a bunch of chairs. And then when I light it, I end up moving the chair slightly off the center and put a light behind it. So I was going to put 2 chairs in with an end table, but then I was like, no. So I was going to put 2 of those in, and then I moved it. So there's a little chair again in there. I use that set a lot, just because that way if you have that set, you don't have to have a million sets, even though I do use a couple minor things from other sets, I believe. Um, but yeah, and then I try to put that in the bedroom and don't. And then I put that plant in, and I don't even know if that's base or not, but I haven't checked. I don't check what the objects are from usually. And then I put the late night bookshelf in there, even though I have a bunch of bookshelves I tried to put in, but a lot of them are big. So I do eventually just go for the late night one, which I do like. And then I darken up the wood of the um, dresser, I believe. But first things first, make the desk black, which I did just because I thought black desks look nice. And then here's when I darken the wood before deciding let's actually drag the wood over, which is what I did. And then I went and changed the bed pattern to a nice that. I used that, and then I made that wider. And then I left the rest the way it was, and I did add in a rug. But I did rugs last, basically, so I turned it dark and started lighting. Here's where I started doing lights and stuff, and I did use a couple by debug lights, so I entered by debug in to do it. But yeah, so there is a light actually on the end table, which is, I believe I used, yeah, that one, which is again the same set. I tried to use that set a lot. And then I was going to put one on the end table, but then I put the tall version of it up on the, next to the bookshelf. Although I think I put it on that side eventually, yeah. And then I use one of the future lights behind this. Because I figure I already have Into the Future reference in other places of the house, so let's put Into the Future in later. that light I try using and don't like, so I use that one, which looks really cool underneath or above it. And then I try to put another one of these in later, and I don't. But yeah, this is where I also add in a by debug light, although that one was huge, so I didn't use it. And then I eventually just used that one, and I put that in on the right side of the bedroom. I was trying to see how I wanted it to glow, and then I put it there. And yeah, after that, I actually went and I started doing other lights in here, even though I didn't really like how some of them came out. I put the desk light in there first, and then I tried moving it to make it look nice, and then I just left it where it was eventually, because I said, never mind, it's not going to rotate how I want. And then I think I do move that plant to put a light in there too. But I was gonna put the industrial lights somewhere, and then I decided no. So I put that on the dining table, and then here's when I realized I should probably add cabinets to this, because there were no cabinets. And then I added cabinets minus a hole for the thing there, which I had a pot rack into, which I do like. And then I make the cabinets all nice and white, or not white, but light wood. That goes with the white back, I believe. At least I think it does. So you can see the color is more in the furniture itself than it is everything else, and they each kind of have a central-ish theme, I guess. Where this room is more reddish pinkish, because you can see little things of it, and the other room is bright pink. The living room is a lot of bright pink, along with the gray, which I do like a lot. I can imagine either a girl or some other sim. It doesn't really have to be a girl, but you know, that's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear a bunch of pink in my mind. I imagine a girl moving in here, actually, who likes darker colors, but also does still like bright pink. And if not, maybe just a guy who came for the dark colors and he likes bright furniture no matter what color it is, and he just decided, let's put all the pink stuff in the living room. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, dang, it's already been almost 40 minutes, 37 to be exact, actually. So I put those little receded lights in from Town Life, because I did use other Town Life stuff, so I decided, let's keep using Town Life stuff. And then after that, I believe I used other Town Life things in here. But other than that, I did put a light over the dining table, and I was going to put one like that in the living room. But then that's when I decided instead to use the... I was going to try to put something in by the plant, even inside the plant, which didn't work. So I moved the plant out of the way for a bit, and then I realized I have 5 million lights, and then nothing did what I wanted. So I think I did get rid of the plant eventually, because I found those, which I did like. And then this is when I tried to do the deli thing, where you layer the lights, and you change the colors of each set individually. So I end up going with pink, light blue, and yellow, which some people will know exactly where those colors came from. It's not as much of a secret as the ones from Starry Way, which is from my current household, but it is still a something that does come up. I feel it's very hint royal, which is why I use them. So I make that a nice pink, but it's like that kind of pink. And then the next ones, although I accidentally changed the base color, which is wrong, but that next one there, I make yellow, the bright yellowish white. And then the next one becomes a light blue, like that kind of blue. Yep, and those are the three colors I use. And then I mess with them a little bit more to rotate them out to make them look as nice as I can. And while they aren't as nice as when Deli does it, they are still pretty nice. So I do actually end up keeping those the way they are, as best as I can. And that's where they stay. And then I go ahead and I think that's actually maybe it for lighting. No, bathroom. In the bathroom, I put in these little candle things on both sides of the sink, and then I put candles over the bathtub because I figure you want candles over your bathtub. And then I put some outdoor lights, I think they're Lunar Lakes hexagons, honestly, on the sides of the driveway. I don't remember if I do or not, but I think I do. So I tried to put little spotlights on the bottom, but then I changed my mind, and I tried to fit those. Those are there. And I remember that's a fence, not a wall, which is why they didn't actually lock in where I wanted them to. And this took some trouble, and I started accidentally moving bushes. And then I realized, okay, whatever. So I moved them to the wall instead. And then other than that, I also put in a front porch light, which is, I don't even know where that's from. I think that's late night. Nope. I use a store one, which is a minor store one. It's like a spa. It's from a spa something. Yeah. And then I couldn't think of where else to put a light, so I was going to try and hang a porch light over there, but I realized I didn't need that. So instead, I hung it... I don't even think I hang it anywhere, because it's already daytime. So I put in a little lounger chair, and it's already been 40 minutes of speaking, and I'm sorry. Anyway, I put in a little lounge chair thingy, and I was going to use that, and then I ended up using it the other one, and making sure it actually fits in a place it fits. So I rotated it and placed it there, and I believe that is usable. And then I change this, since it's the monotone, and make it white with a grayish thing, and then the trash can's the same. And I do mess, this is when I do rugs, and then after that, that's it. So I put in a rug there, and a rug under the lights, and then I fix that one a little bit more. And then I put in one under the dining table, and one under that little mini dining table, and then one in the bathroom, which is meant to be like a little towel mat thing, and then one in the bedroom, which is actually a uni one, and then one underneath the desk. So that's where that all sits, and basically each one is a different color set. So this one, I use that, and I changed the colors to be a grayish, or no, not grayish, like a reddish with a white in the middle, which is why I said the kitchen's more red. And then the one I saved, that Sakura rug I saved, although I darkened the pink a bit, like that, to match in with the pink feel of everything. And then I also went in and I messed that one and made it a, don't even remember anymore. I believe I made it geometrical though. I made it the, yeah, that pattern, because I felt like that was a very fancy pattern, which goes with the fancy light, because fancy colors. And I made it pink and tealish. And then after that, I ended up going with the other rugs, and I believe one of them goes black, one of them gets spots, and then that's it, I think, actually. The bathroom one just becomes tealish. So this one over here, the dining table over here becomes a uh, geometrical thing, I think. But I don't remember what I exactly did to it. Oh yeah, I used that and I made it gray, kind of like the match the bedroom wall, but slightly different. And then I ended up not using. I used that and made the outer edge grayish like that. I was gonna use tie dye, but then I was like, no, create a pattern. Patterns here. So I did that instead.